Hey everyone, and welcome back. We're diving deep into resilience today,
Oh, yeah.
what it is, why it matters, and most importantly, how to build it. Our sources get pretty in-depth this time. Real strategies, real-life examples, so get ready to bounce back stronger no matter what.
The really interesting thing about resilience is it's more than just being tough. It's about, well, adaptability, being able to sort of roll with the punches and actually use challenges to come back stronger.
Okay, so when we say resilience, we hear that word a lot. What does it actually look like day to day?
Hmm. At its core, resilience is the ability to adapt and thrive even when things get tough. Not about avoiding the hard stuff completely, more about navigating the challenges and using them to grow.
So less about being unbreakable and more about bending without breaking, finding that balance between strength and flexibility.
You got it.
Yeah.
And one of the best ways to build that kind of resilience is developing a growth mindset.
I've heard that term before, but could you break it down for us? What's the difference between that and a fixed mindset?
Well, it's all about how you view challenges. Someone with a fixed mindset, they see a setback and it's a defeat. I'm just not good at this, that kind of thing. But someone with a growth mindset, they see that same setback and it's an opportunity. Okay, what can I learn? How can I grow from this?
So it's like reframing failures as feedback. Instead of getting discouraged, you use it to get better.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Think about someone who gets passed over for a promotion. Fixed mindset, they might give up. Growth mindset says, okay, not the end of the world. What can I improve? What skills can I sharpen? How can I be an even stronger candidate next time?
Yeah, I can see how just changing your mindset can totally change how you deal with the ups and downs. It's like choosing to see the opportunity inside every obstacle.
Powerful choice.
Yeah.
You combine that with solid self-care practices, you're building a really strong base for resilience.
Okay, self-care, another one of those buzzwords. What does that actually mean when we're talking about resilience?
It's all about consistently taking care of yourself, physically, emotionally, mentally. Proactively building those reserves of strength and energy so you're ready for whatever comes at you.
So not just bubble baths and face masks, although those are good too, but what are some practical self-care things for resilience?
Sure. Things like exercise, getting enough sleep, really nourishing your body with good food, those are key.
Hmm.
And don't underestimate things like mindfulness, meditation, even a few minutes each day can really help with stress and finding that inner peace.
It's like making sure your inner resources are topped up, so you're not running on empty when things get tough. Our sources also talk about setting achievable goals. How does that fit into resilience?
When you're facing a big challenge, it's easy to get overwhelmed, but if you break that challenge down into smaller, more manageable steps, it suddenly feels less daunting.
So instead of looking at the whole mountain, you're just focused on putting one foot in front of the other.
Precisely. Think about a student writing a thesis, for example. That's a huge project. Try to tackle it all at once and it can be paralyzing. But break it down, chapters, sections, even paragraphs. Suddenly it's manageable. You focus on that one step, you celebrate the small wins. Keep building that momentum.
Yeah, it's about creating that feeling of progress. Even when the end goal seems far away, definitely see how that can boost your confidence, help you push through when things get tough. What about navigating change? Seems like a constant in today's world.
Absolutely right. Adaptability is essential for resilience. Things are always evolving. And if you resist change, you're just setting yourself up for frustration.
Like trying to hold back the tide, right?
Okay.
Exhausting and kind of pointless.
Exactly. But if you can go with the flow, embrace the changes, even find the opportunities within them, you'll navigate those shifts much more smoothly. One of our sources mentioned an employee. They were faced with a big technology upgrade at work they could have resisted. But instead, they saw it as a chance to learn new skills, become even more valuable to the company.
They turned a potential setback into a growth opportunity, choosing to be curious about the change instead of afraid of it.
That's a great way to put it. Another key element of resilience is those problem-solving skills.
So it's not just about getting through tough situations, it's about actually figuring out how to overcome them.
Exactly. Resilient people don't just sit back and wait for things to get better. They take action, they analyze the problem, brainstorm solutions, then take steps to address it.
Yeah, it's easy to just panic and freeze when you hit a big roadblock, but instead of giving in to that, you're saying it's about taking charge and figuring out a way forward.
Absolutely. And it's a skill you can develop. Think about someone who hits a snag in a project. Instead of getting stuck, they systematically gather information, consult with others, come up with a plan to address the issue.
So they're basically leveling up their resilience every time they solve a problem?
Exactly. And here's another crucial element. Those strong social connections play a huge role in resilience.
Well, we are social creatures. We're not meant to go through life alone.
Right. Having that support network, friends, family, colleagues, can make all the difference when times are tough.
Like having a team of cheerleaders in your corner, even when things get rough.
I love that analogy. People you can talk to who offer different perspectives.
Hmm.
Just listen without judgment. Incredibly valuable.
Knowing you don't have to carry the weight alone.
Right. And speaking of carrying things, another important piece of resilience is cultivating hope.
Hope, that's a big one. What role does it play in all of this?
Hope's a powerful motivator. It fuels us to keep going, even when it's difficult, because it lets us see the possibility of a brighter future.
That light at the end of the tunnel. Even if it feels far away sometimes, just knowing it's there can give you the strength to keep moving.
Exactly. Our sources mentioned an entrepreneur went through a business failure. But instead of letting it defeat them, they focused on the lessons learned, approached new ventures with that renewed optimism.
So even after a major setback, they chose to believe that things could get better.
Precisely. And that hope played a big part in their ability to bounce back and ultimately achieve success.
That's inspiring. Really shows how much our mindset can affect our resilience. We can choose to see setbacks as the end, or as just one chapter in a much bigger story.
Great way to put it. Speaking of inspiring stories, our sources highlight one in particular about resilience in the face of some serious personal adversity. The story of Amy Kenworthy.
Okay, I want to hear more about Amy. Sounds like she faced some really tough challenges.
Amy's a professor at Bond University, and at 41, she was diagnosed with a rare aggressive form of cancer. Facing something like that is incredibly difficult for anyone. But what's amazing about Amy is how she approached it, with this focus on gratitude, self-care, and the unwavering support of her loved ones.
Wow, so even while battling cancer, she was actively using these resilience strategies, not just enduring the treatment, but finding ways to thrive.
Exactly. Amy's story is such a powerful testament to the human spirit. That ability to find strength, even joy in the toughest circumstances. She didn't let the diagnosis define her, focused on what she could control, and found ways to bring meaning and purpose to that experience.
It's like she took all these tools and techniques, the growth mindset, self-care, the power of connection, and used them to get through this incredibly challenging time.
And that's a really important point. Resilience isn't about being superhuman or avoiding hardship altogether. It's about having those tools so you can get through those storms with grace and strength.
Makes you realize we all have that potential for resilience within us. It's not something some people just have and others don't. It's something you can learn and build over time.
Absolutely. And it's not just about individual resilience either. Our sources also talk about community resilience, which I find really interesting.
Community resilience. Tell me more.
It's about how communities come together and support each other in the face of adversity. Whether it's a natural disaster, economic downturn, any kind of shared challenge, a community's ability to band together, pool their resources, and lift each other up can be really remarkable.
Makes sense. When you're facing something that impacts the whole community, there's this sense of shared purpose and collective strength that comes out.
Exactly. Our sources bring up Hurricane Katrina as a perfect example. After that devastating storm, we thought communities all along the Gulf Coast, coming together to help each other, organizing support networks, getting food and supplies out, providing shelter, working tirelessly to rebuild their homes and lives.
Amazing to think, even with such immense loss and devastation, those communities found the strength to come together like that. Really speaks to that human capacity for resilience, not just on an individual level, but on a collective level as well.
Powerful reminder that we're not meant to go through tough times alone. Whether it's a personal challenge or a shared crisis, having that support, that sense of community, can make a world of difference.
So we've covered a lot. From individual strategies for resilience to the incredible power of community support. What do you think is the most important takeaway for our listeners today?
For me, the biggest takeaway is this. Resilience is a journey, not a destination. It's not about being perfect or never having setbacks. It's about having that growth mindset, prioritizing self-care, building strong connections, finding ways to stay hopeful even when things are tough.
It's about having the tools and the right mindset so that when those challenges come up, you're prepared to deal with them, not just survive, but thrive.
Exactly. And what's so empowering about resilience is that it's not about being perfect or invincible. It's about knowing that life has ups and downs and giving yourself the skills to navigate them.
It's about knowing you have the strength to get through anything. So as we wrap up this deep dive into resilience, what's one final thought you'd like to leave our listeners with?
I'd say embrace the journey. Resilience is a process of learning, adapting, and growing. There will be challenges, but there are opportunities to become even stronger, wiser, and more resilient.
Beautifully said. And remember, you don't have to go it alone. Reach out to your support system. Lean on those who care about you. Never underestimate that strength of the human spirit, that ability to overcome and come out stronger on the other side.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into resilience. Until next time, stay curious, stay engaged, and keep learning. It's like building a muscle, right? The more you work it, the stronger it gets. And even when you stumble, those stumbles are part of the process.
Yeah.
They're opportunities to learn and grow.
Absolutely. Like you said, building a muscle. And it's so important to celebrate those small wins along the way.
Yeah.
Sometimes we get so focused on the end goal
Yeah.
that we forget to, acknowledge the progress we're making. Noticing those wins can really help keep you motivated.
Yeah, it's like a little pat on the back for every step you take, no matter how small.
Yeah, exactly. And those small steps really add up. Another thing to keep in mind, resilience isn't about becoming immune to challenges.
Right.
It's about learning to move through them in a healthy and productive way.
So not pretending the hard stuff isn't there or trying to avoid it, but learning to face it head on with the tools and the mindset to not just survive, but to actually thrive.
You got it. That's what's so empowering about resilience. It's not about being perfect or invincible. It's about acknowledging that life has its ups and downs and giving yourself the skills to ride those waves.
It's knowing you have that strength inside you to get through whatever comes. So as we wrap up this deep dive on resilience, what's one final thought you'd like to leave with our listeners?
Let me see. I'd say embrace the journey. Resilience isn't about arriving somewhere. It's an ongoing process of learning, adapting, and growing. There will be challenges, but they're your chance to become even stronger, wiser, more resilient.
I love that. And remember, you don't have to do it alone. Reach out to your support network, your loved ones. Never underestimate the power of the human spirit to overcome adversity and come out stronger.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into resilience. Until next time, stay curious, stay engaged, and keep learning.
It really is. Yeah. And one last thing to remember, resilience isn't just about you as an individual. Our sources talk about community resilience too, and that's pretty powerful.
And community resilience.
Yeah. It's all about how communities come together to support each other when things get rough, like natural disasters, economic struggles, any kind of shared hardship, A community's ability to band together, to share resources and lift each other up is amazing.
Makes sense. When something affects everyone, you see this collective purpose, this shared strength.
Exactly. And the perfect example, the sources talk about Hurricane Katrina. After that devastation, you saw communities all along the Gulf Coast coming together, helping each other out, organizing, getting food and supplies to those in need, offering shelter, rebuilding their homes and lives.
It's incredible, isn't it, to think that even with such immense loss, they found the strength to support each other like that.
Yeah. It speaks to that human capacity for resilience, not just individually, but collectively.
Powerful reminder that we're not meant to go through tough times alone, personal challenges or shared crises. Having that support network, that sense of community, makes all the difference in the world.
Absolutely.
So we've covered a lot today. Individual strategies for resilience, the power of community. What's the most important takeaway for our listeners?
I'd say the most important thing is resilience is a journey, not a destination. It's not about being perfect or never struggling. It's about having that growth mindset, taking care of yourself, building those strong connections, and finding ways to stay hopeful, even when things are tough.
It's about having the tools and the right outlook so that when challenges do come up, you can handle them, not just survive, but thrive.
Exactly. And what's so amazing about resilience is that it's not about being perfect or invincible. It's acknowledging that life has ups and downs and giving yourself the skills to navigate them.
It's about knowing you have the strength within you to face whatever comes your way. So as we wrap up this deep dive into resilience, what's one final thought you want to leave with our listeners?
I'd say embrace the journey. Resilience isn't about arriving somewhere. It's a constant process of learning, adapting, and growing. There will be challenges along the way, but they're your chances to become stronger, wiser, more resilient than ever before.
Beautifully said. And remember, you don't have to do it alone. Reach out to your support network. Lean on your loved ones. Never underestimate the power of the human spirit. That ability to overcome anything and come out stronger on the other side.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into resilience. Until next time, stay curious, stay engaged, and keep learning.